centric 3 tank, 3 support makes sense here.
That's what you want to run if you're Seoul, of course. I mean, Fischer's a pretty great Reinhardt player.
He's
so.
pretty great overall, you got to
Yeah, he sure is, yeah. Swaps from the Chengdu Hunters, and of course, looks like they're going to go with that single tank setup again. Single tank for Amon, single healer for Veltal on Mercy.
All Hammond, all the time.
That's right. I guess
Love
you've
it
got
from
Kyo
Chengdu.
over to the Zenyatta too now. It is all Hammond all the time.
So 3 DPS, 3 damage dealers, and the Far is going to be trying to push them off of this point, while the Sombra and the Tracer are going to come around for the flank. Amon is just so incredibly annoying and disruptive.
No kidding. And he generally does it fairly safely too. Up on the roof, dropping down. Stunned though, he's in big trouble. Has to get away, nearly paid for it, did pay for it with his life. Michelle getting the finishing blow there as Seoul Dynasty works their way back onto the point to force back the Chengdu Hunters.
Yeah, it's things like that that Amon knows about playing Wrecking Ball, where you can actually just dive down and punch them as they're walking forward, as he slides down the roof with the pile driver.
Right.
You know what? They're still going here too, and Amon's already back.
He's back, man. That's another thing is you can have that tank be aggressive if that tank is Hammond. He can just roll his way back to the fight in a hurry. But there goes Veltal. Michelle found him, flew up in the air and took him down. And Bacon Jack just waiting for that pulse bomb. Maybe he can find a pick if he gets it up. But there's a lot of low health members on Chengdu right now. I think they got to be kind of careful here.
Yeah, they need to pull back out of this. And I think one of the most infuriating things I could imagine about playing against the Hunters is target selection.
Yeah.
They're so mercurial. They sort of just ebb and flow around you. And how do you call a target with a low mobility composition like triple tank, triple support?
You just have to be very confident in your picks here. Sound barrier thrown out, or rather, not sound barrier. It's going to be the pulse bomb thrown out. No kills out of that one. Jinmu, though, finds 2 with the barrage. Sets up another one as well. D-Mex Michelle. And that's going to be the Hunters claiming the point.
This is what the Hunters do, though. So Bacon Jack's at the top of the staircase, throwing a pulse bomb down there to zone people down the staircase because they have a Far above you with a rocket barrage locked and loaded. So there's no really a good place to go in that scenario.
That's what they do, man. It's like last map. They herd you into the place where they want to fight you, and then they fight you and kill you there.
That's right.
How about that?
It's like a cattle drive every day here for the Chengdu Hunters.
Pretty much.
They're like the Hunters, the Velociraptors. They just come from both sides at once.
Clever girl, right? Michelle taking out Jinmu. And so Hunters do find themselves a man down on this push here. Fischer gets out in time. And it's still going to be a hold for Munchkin. Wow, Munchkin. Battle Brigida getting aggressive there, waiting for the rest of his team to catch up, but they do take down Kyo. Just grinding through that Zenyatta's health here, and now the defense gets very aggressive for Seoul.
They're going to have to back off right now, though. Seoul does manage to stop the payload and punish, you know, some of those forward players with some late kills before they can get back as the Chengdu Hunters regroup. They may have a bit of a difficult time in this choke. Depends on whether this EMP is going to be effective. And the EMP is going to come out very soon.
It's got to be a good one. Coming through, there's the EMP right now. Jaehong, the first victim of that, as Zenyatta's often are. Ooh, and Michelle, though, gets 2 in return with his self-destruct. Chengdu, can they respond here? Graviton surge for Seoul now. Pulse bomb comes in from Bacon Jack, gets nothing, though. Except himself, it seems like. And Chengdu back to spawn again. Ameng, gotta be careful. He's gonna get staggered really badly. Ooh, gets out with just a little bit of health remaining. And still a solid defense, but Seoul had to use a lot on that fight.
They did, but at the same time, they can afford to use a lot because most of Chengdu's ultimates are not going to be especially effective, except for that EMP. For the most part, their ult economy is less important, and they need to make plays with their damage-dealing character.
Oh, Amon came to drop bombs, and that's exactly what he did. But Fleta, not gonna have any of it. Takes him down, and Seoul Dynasty still okay on that point. Fischer just rolling through the minefield. And that Primal Rage doesn't really have a whole lot to worry about. And 2:30 left on the clock for the Hunters now.
I mean, as much as I love what Chengdu's doing, and I think they're executing it pretty well, it is so hard to play against the triple tank, triple support because the margin for error is just much lower than it is with this many DPS heroes on the map.
Amon down again, and oh, that's not a barrage. I think that Jinmu is going to be happy with.
They need to switch off anyway.
Yeah, it is time to make some swaps. There's the Brigida. I'd imagine we're going to see the 3-3 come out here for Chengdu. Probably going to keep else on that Sombra. Or, no, wait for it. Bacon Jack's on the Zarya. All right, well, it's
The Chengdu Hunters do not know what goats are. No.
they can play 3 supports, but that's as close as they're gonna come.
Yeah, they are going to go straight into some more DPS. Jaehong, the unfortunate victim, and they knew he had the Transcendence, his ultimate available as well.
There's not much you can do against, or as Zenyatta against that, and Aman just gonna roll in after everything, and that's gonna be a pretty clean fight. It's surprising, because it seems like Seoul just wasn't ready for that one for some reason.
Well, I think it's hard. You know, that EMP, if you can't find the Sombra immediately, there's really nothing you can do besides preemptively pop your Transcendence. It's really just better for Seoul to save it to the next fight because they got so much time off the clock anyway, and they should be, I think, confident heading into their own attack round, considering how well they've been doing in most of these fights.
Drops a minefield as Seoul tries to pile onto the cart now. They kind of walk through before it activates, so it's not so bad, but Aman coming in with a lot of shields. Able to do a lot of damage there, but Seoul Dynasty in the end is going to turn this one around. They did have that sound barrier, didn't need to use it, just working off the Transcendence from Jaehong actually to win that fight.
Yeah, Seoul starting to adapt to this too. They're no longer very easily phased by Aman dropping that minefield. Instead, they just use one support ult. That's what they saved. They had the Transcendence because they didn't use it in the last fight because they were actually unable to thanks to the hack. But this time, they're able to roll forward with it and really ignore that minefield. And that forces Aman over to the Reinhardt now.
If you're not CC'd, you've got time to walk through before it activates too. Whoa, Fleta dropping the grab on the front of the payload here. Michelle gets a kill into Aman. That's going to push the rest of Hunters back. It's a clever little Graviton Surge placement there. Elsa was there in position to block, but Fleta found a way to just sneak it in on that payload. And now we're down to under 20 seconds remaining for the Hunters. It's do or die, and they don't have any ultimates. They're going to maybe have full support ultimates, maybe the grab for this fight.
Yeah, the rally armor is going to start falling off soon as well for the Chengdu Hunters as they're on their approach here, so fewer hit points available to this team.
Oh, that's a nice Earth Shatter come through from Fissure. Aman falls immediately. Now this self-destruct is going to need to be massive. Doesn't do a whole lot. Graviton Surge comes in from the Hunters, but nobody there to follow up. They've already lost a lot of their damage-dealing players. So now it's just a scramble to keep the payload alive, but I think that's going to be about it. Seoul ducks and covers as the self-destruct from the Hunters come in. It's not going to be any kills coming to that. Nobody can get to the payload. That is a solid stop for Seoul. That's a great defensive effort by them.
Yeah, very good. And now they're being smart, playing around the choke points where the Chengdu Hunters can't get around them to flank as easily when they're not in the open, and they have to go through these corridors to reach.
All right, quick break, and we'll be back with the next round. And we're back here on Hollywood. Seoul Dynasty making a good stop on the Chengdu Hunters halfway through point B. And you know, you and I were talking about it during the break, Monty. It kind of feels at this point like Seoul may have just kind of figured the Hunters out.
I think you're really seeing the limitations of what you can do with the Chengdu Hunters style in this meta.
Yeah.
The issue with having 3 tank, 3 support is it's just ridiculously consistent. Is it ideal in all scenarios? No. But can you always do something with it? Sure. And you can always just drag out the match, burn time off the clock, because it's so difficult to just grind through all of the healing and all of the HP on those tanks.
Yeah.
So it makes it very challenging. And you have to get those perfect pickoffs if you're the Chengdu Hunters. Like, you have to outplay them at a pretty fundamental one-on-one level with these damage dealers if you're going to make that transition.
Seoul Dynasty transitioning to a different composition themselves now, going for that 3 tank, 3 support. Jaehong on the Moira again. Chengdu Hunters, though, a lot of DPS on this defense. A lot of damage coming in from them.
They're just trying to rush right now the points. They're going to have that Moira. They're not too concerned about any long-range damage coming in, even though the Ashe has been pulled out for Bacon Jack.
Yep. Overwatch's newest hero here, Ashe. Not a lot of people playing her yet, but Bacon Jack's going to give it a try. Oh, they do get Jexa in the end, but Fleta takes out Q. That Zenyatta's going to have a long walk back to point A, and now Bacon Jack gone. Fleta just walking in and says, hey, you know what? I've got a huge plasma beam cannon thing. That's the official title, by the way. And you get shields for days, so.
What happened there was that Fissure jumped in the top alongside Jexay, and they pushed them into the staircase. When you're in a close range like that, and Brigitte is getting AoE heal alongside the Moira in close confines, Fleta could just go crazy with Zarya right clicks, dealing a lot of area of effect damage inside that. Great strategy here just to disrupt the high ground defense over that cafe from the Hunters.
And now, Seoul Dynasty has over 5 minutes to push this payload just halfway about through point B, and it's going to be pretty tough to stop them if you're the Chengdu Hunters.
Chengdu's trying to make adjustments. They want to go back to the Hammond with the 3-3 composition.
No ultimates, though.
Yeah, might be a little bit tough.
Big knock-up from Amon coming in, gets a lot of shields, of course, from that E on now Jaehong coming in. The Moira ultimate Coalescence doing quite a bit, but Chengdu not going to have any of it. They're just going to go ahead and push Seoul back a little bit. That said, Fleta coming back again, and that's the fragility of the Hunters' composition. I mean, yeah, you can try to put Seoul on the back foot, but eventually they can just walk in there with that healing, and we're seeing the same thing we just saw in A.
They know what's happening now. They know Amon's looking for these big pile driver plays on the wrecking ball coming in from up top, and they're just disengaging and waiting for him to leave. And now,
can they even get there?
Can they even? Well, Amon can get it there.
Amon
that's for
there.
sure.
All right, gets grabbed immediately. All right, drops on the minefield, but Fissure is already through to where the map will never get to. In this particular one, just, you know, taking out Kyo in the hallway as you do. Self-destruct coming in from Michelle. No kills out of that one. Bacon Jack low, though. They take out his Zarya. Now it's just Elsa, pretty much. The last substantial piece of hit points on the payload. It's going to be the sound barrier for Seoul Dynasty. Jinmu falls. Here comes Elsa's self-destruct. No kills out of that one. Seoul Dynasty re-engaging now. They just got to get the cleanup finish, and they'll win this map and go up 2-0 in this series. Amon gets another sound barrier. Chengdu Hunters doing an admirable job of staying alive, but Seoul has so much time on the clock. I'm shocked the Hunters are still in this one.
There's another minefield from Amon actually trying to push the members of Seoul off
doing
the payload, but they're starting to turn this around. Potentially now it's over.
There we go. That second grab comes in from Fleta. That's going to do the job. Seoul Dynasty goes up 2-0 in this series.
Really convincing win on Hollywood there, but that's a map that's going to be more advantageous to 3-3 composition.
Sure. Things might change when we go towards our assault map after the break. Don't go anywhere, guys. More action coming up on the Overwatch League right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.